to New York. He hails down a cab. At first takes a while. The cab seemed a bit slower this morning, but sure enough, one does turn up. The cab driver's a little soft-spoken, certainly he's more soft-spoken than the famous New York cabbies typically are. It's very apparent that the cabbie has quite the headache. So David jumps into the cab, he gives him the address, and they proceed to drive away. It's not the wealthiest part of town, but they continue to drive. They drive to a nice enough spot. It's not too far away from Central Park. It's not right on Central Park. But he arrives at a relatively nice apartment block. Not overly old, not overly new, middle class. Goes up the flights of stairs. There's no elevator in here, but it's not a very tall apartment block, so it's not too much of a struggle. As he walks through the apartment, it's pretty quiet. There's a lot of obviously ruckus throughout town with everyone checking out things, but I guess here, that kind of ruckus doesn't quite reach. There's some nice music playing somewhere. Someone's got a record player, and it's just playing something softly as he approaches the apartment building of Mark Culloden. He knocks on the door. "Oh, my good man, are you Mark Culloden?" "Why, yes, old bean, I am Mark Culloden. How may I help you?" Oh, thank goodness. You see, I'm actually the nephew of dear Miss Jenkins. I understand that you have her car. I was wondering if I'd be able to pick it up. She sorely needs it. As you know, she's very charitable, but she's a widow, and as such, every financial loss like that, it means something. So I was wondering if we could come in, have a talk. If you still need it, if we come to an arrangement, that's fine. I just want to make sure that she gets her car back. Is that okay? Of course. Come on in. Make yourself at home. Make yourself comfortable. David heads into this apartment building. The windows are open. The blinds are slightly open with a little bit of breeze coming in, just waving them a little bit. The place is fairly well attired. It matches him. It matches his sort of aristocratic look. All well kept, all well done. Why was this guy a hotel clerk? Let's keep going. Hello, my name is Evan. Welcome to an Ironsworn mystery story, The Big Dry. This is the second part of a two-part episode. Last week, the episode that I filmed went a little bit longer than I had intended, so I broke it up into two parts, which means if you haven't seen last week's episode, I can encourage you to go back, watch it first. Maybe if you haven't seen any episode so far, go back to that first one, in which not only do I begin the story, but also lay down some of the rules that we'll be following in this RPG series. It's quite an interesting series. It's a mystery story where we're investigating a crime, a bit of a whodunit, except we don't actually have a planned story. We roll for clues, we investigate, we have conversations, we get evidence, and then it's going to be my job at the end to put those pieces of evidence together to try and solve the mystery, like a real detective, or like a real detective in a fictional story. If you weren't here last week, then I'll give you a brief sum up. We are investigating the brutal murder of Mr. Templeton, a British diplomat here for a land deal that's gone wrong because, well, he's dead. We are trying to figure out who he was talking to the night that he was murdered, a mysterious, shrouded individual. We've talked to the hotel clerk and discovered that the person on that night was a Mark Culloden. Mark Culloden, he was on that night. He was fired very soon after. So David Race has tracked him down to his very nice apartment. Very nice apartment. But he's living in a sort of a dead-end job. So what's going on here? What's Mark Culloden's story? So can I encourage you, fix yourself something delicious, get comfortable, and let's find out more. May I offer you a drink? I'm afraid nothing very strong at the moment, but some water is on hand. Milk, if you desire. A glass of milk would be lovely, actually. I did actually hit the sauce last night a little strong. So yes, a glass of milk a glass of water would be lovely to help, clear the head. One glass of water coming up. So, Mark goes into the kitchen. As he does so, David's going to do a quick glance around the room. He's looking... Is he looking for the car keys? He's looking for the car keys of Miss Jenkins in a way, but that's not his main priority. He's looking for anything else that might connect to the case. So we'll roll a gather information one last time. And this time, though, we're going to add a few of our own little rules to it. Not only will we get the any mechanical advantage that comes up with the gather information, but also, if it is a weak hit, he'll see the car keys. If it's a strong hit, he will see the car keys and a piece of juicy information. A piece of juicy information as well that might be helpful. A miss, he sees nothing. So let's have a look. Plus wit is 3, that's 8. Oh, it's a strong hit. So 3 to 5 is 8 over a 3 and a 5. He sees the car keys. Okay, quite conveniently, it's more or less just sitting on a little side table by the lounge. He notices the car keys is the same make as the car downstairs. Again, the car's not overly fancy, but at least does have the Ford Motor Company logo on it. So he does know that it is the right sort of car key for that. He also gets a juicy piece of information. So what is it? Okay, so we've got 15. And what we got was a broken window. David looks around the apartment. Again, the place feels like it's out of place. It feels very aristocratic. There's nice things around the place. There's photographs of like sort of fishing trips and hunting trips to very nice places. So what on earth is this American style aristocrat doing in this middle class, but certainly lower than what he's presenting, part of town? But what catches his eye is like just down the hall in the other room, he just sort of has a bit of a look. He sees a broken window. Otherwise the room looks fine, but the broken window, there's some shattered glass still on the ground. It's been swept up, so like this little dustpan sort of sitting there with the glass swept into it. It just hasn't been dealt with yet. But the window's broken, there's the broken glass. Okay, he's got a broken window. Why has he got a broken window in a nice part of town? So Mark comes back into the room, the glass of water, hands it over to David. As he does, David says thank you. Mark doesn't say anything. Whilst he seems sort of mindless and affable sort of thing and seems a charming smile, that charm isn't revealing anything. He seems to be guarded. I just rolled to see what sort of conversation this was going to be. It's going to be formidable, which means that every time I make progress, I'm only going to make 1 progress rather than 2 like last time. But I still have only the 5 cooperation points. So the conversation is going to be a little bit trickier than last time. Let's see who's got the advantage conversation. David is still lying, so I'm going to say that's going to roll shadow, which is +2. Let's see how that goes. Oh, it's a bad roll. It's a 1 to a 2. It's against 3 and a 6, so it's a miss, a complete miss. He is going to have the advantage, well and truly. So you're Miss Jenkins' nephew. Does she still have that bum leg, by the way? Bum leg? I don't think so. I saw her this morning, and no, she's up and about, her normal self. What do you mean, bum leg? 3, here we go. Bugger! Bugger, bugger, bugger. So David, he's using his wit here. He's kind of going, this is probably a ploy to try and trick him into revealing that it's not actually the nephew. I rolled with wit. I got a miss. I got a miss. It was a 3 to 2, but the challenge dice were a 10 and a 9. I'm not going to fudge it. Instead, I'm going to make use of my momentum. So momentum is actually a part of Ironsworn. The idea is it's the game's way of letting you fudge things. What I can do is I can burn all momentum, which I've been gathering by having successful rolls or not, to get rid of one of our challenge dice. It resets back to 2. I need to recharge it back up again before I can do anything useful. So that had 9 momentum. That gets rid of one of the dice, gets rid of the 9. So it is a weak hit. Oh, yeah, sorry, I got your aunt muddled up with someone else. I apologize for that. Someone else busted their leg, a friend of hers, I believe. Now, about this car, do you want it back immediately? I was hoping I could use it for another couple of days. A couple of days might be a bit of a challenge, but she will need it, not tomorrow, but the day after. So maybe by then could we come and pick up the car tomorrow night, let's say. That should be fine, I guess. I might have to rush a few things, so when you get it back, it's probably not going to have a full tank of gas or even be overly clean, if you understand. Part of that time was intended to clean it. Is that okay with your aunt? Look, I tell you what, if you can make your way to filling up the tank before you get it back to me, I can see to it that you'll be recompensed, maybe with a little extra if you're willing to do so. Well, that's damn peachy of you, but I'm afraid money is a bit tight right now, so even trying to fill it up. I mean, that's why I got the car in the first place, to get the money. If I can't do it in time, I can't do it in time. Thanks for the offer, but no, I can't quite do that. But yeah, sure, you can pick it up tomorrow night, I suppose. Yes, that would be wonderful tomorrow night, and I understand about the money thing. I mean, obviously, money can be quite tight in these times. I noticed there was a draft in here, and I couldn't help but notice that a window was broken. Is that okay? Like, are you all right? Oh, why yes. I did happen to break that window. It's a long story, to be perfectly honest. I understand, Bean. It can be quite hard, especially in these times. Though I understand, you seem familiar. Do you work at the New York hotel? Why, yes. Or yes, I did. How did you know that? Because I was there, old Bean. The New York hotel, great place for liquor. Well, it was. Now, obviously, with the prohibition, last night was the last night I'd be able to go there to get, well, the good stuff. So I decided I'd go along and, well, just, my memory under alcohol isn't that bad. You were there behind the desk, were you not? I'm surprised you remember, old sport, with the amount of alcohol that was consumed. I'm actually rather impressed. Now, I am rather busy, so if you don't mind, I'll see you again, what, tomorrow night, was it? At 8 o'clock. Would you say 8 o'clock? So, I've only got one cooperation point left. He's clearly trying to wrap up the conversation. I don't have initiative. And in a fight, technically, if you don't have initiative, you can't end the fight, can't end the conversation. And narratively, it makes sense, so I'm going to enforce that rule. I need to get momentum back in order to make my final question to wrap up this conversation, and I need to do it quickly. I'm going to do a turn the tide move. Basically, a turn the tide move, you risk it all, you do some sort of non-progress move to try and get momentum back in your favor. You +1 to that as well. So I'm going to do a face danger. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to basically say to bring up the fact that he has been fired, the fact that he's been let go, that the people don't like him at the hotel, to try and, I don't know, make him more agreeable in some way. So I'm going to do a face danger roll, and we're going to see if we can convince him to play along. Yes, 8 o'clock sounds perfect, and I'm sad to hear that you did lose your job after last night's debacle. It wasn't entirely your own fault, and sadly it sounds like you did burn some bridges there, so it is a real shame that you had to be let go. Yes, old sport, it is a real shame. And of course, being without a position and accustomed to a certain level of comfort does come at a cost. A cost that may be required if you really would like some assistance. So as you can see, I got a weak hit on the face danger, which means I did achieve what I wanted. I managed to turn the tide of the conversation back to me. I've got momentum, so I can finish the conversation. But it came at a cost. And the cost that made the most sense narratively is that Mark has caught on that maybe there's other information that David actually wants to know. And if he really wants to know, it's going to cost him. Okay, it's going to be a bribe. Okay, so in Ironsworn, they don't have inventory boxes. They don't have money. They instead have supply, and supply is just represented by 5 little supply tokens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend one of those supplies to basically bribe him. David puts his wallet away after the unpleasantries are done and proceeds to ask him his question. Well, you've probably put together that I'm not from around here, that some of my fellow countrymen were staying at the New York hotel last night when you were on the hotel desk. One of them, after dinner, came down to the bar and met with a strange person, trench coat, hat, very nondescript from what I understand. They had a drink, a conversation, they exchanged something, and then this individual, instead of going out the front way, went out the back. Look, I was just wondering, did you see this person? Do you know where they were going or how they got away? Mark proceeded to lean forwards, and from under the lounge he took out a bottle of brand liquid and poured himself a new glass. Well, I think I did see this person you were looking for. The 2 British gentlemen, one of them came down, very serious looking type, well dressed. Can't remember him because of those scarred hands of his. Don't forget stuff like that. Anyway, he came in, went to the bar. There was already someone there waiting in the hotel lobby. They had come in through the front door, which is why I saw them. Why I remember them was because under that hat, which they removed once to wipe their brow, was a shaved head, like a crew cut, something military almost, which is, you wouldn't look twice most of the time. Save this crew cut was on a lady. She was a lady. Under that trench coat and hat, you wouldn't know because it was so baggy, but again, removing the said hat, you could very clearly see she was quite fine of feature, save of course for her very short hair. Anyway, she went to the bar. She talked with the gentleman. I didn't see much of that. Don't know if they passed anything, but certainly that was probably the person that you're curious about. And then she disappeared. She did indeed start heading out towards the back through the kitchen, and at first I thought that was very curious, and I did inquire later as to a shaved, bald woman walking through the back rooms. But then I discovered that she was actually an artist. And I remembered that there was indeed an art installation that had been removed a couple of days earlier. It was a faun drinking from Bacchus's cup. The hotel thought that was inappropriate to keep there after Prohibition sort of kicked in. So they removed it, and this lady apparently was the original sculptor. She was there to make sure that the final pickup was approved. So that's why she went out the back way. There was a truck waiting for her with her art piece in there. She jumped in the truck and she headed off to wherever artists go. That's all I know, to be perfectly honest. Now, I'd also like to be honest in saying I appreciate your time. I hope you send your aunt my regards if you see her by any chance. And get the hell out of my apartment. So there you go. We have ourselves another lead, thank God. After that conversation where I rolled so many weak hits, I didn't think we'd be getting anything, but we do indeed have the person in the trench coat. An artist. An artist lady with a shaved head. I kind of decided to make this person a lady as I was creating the character. We've got enough guys as it is, but the shaved head, that was purely rolled off of Matt David's physical description. Also, I used Ironsworn in order to figure out the nature of her escape. It said that she was there to remove creation, so I thought artist. So she was an artist, there to pick up her creation, and while she was there, she talked to Templeton. So I'm going to see if I can go find her later. But for now, David takes the hint. He stands up, he begins to leave, he says thank you, and he heads out the door. Now, I did consider maybe grabbing the keys off of the table, but considering he's watching me, I don't think that's a good idea. Instead, actually, you know what? I am going to take the keys. I'm going to try to, at least. This guy, he's ticked me off, to be honest. There's so many weak hits then. I was so close a couple of times to fudging some of them. I just wanted to get the momentum. So the game's kind of biased me against this guy. I'm not so much wanting to help Mrs Jenkins, but rather to annoy this bloke. I'm going to try and sneak the car keys. He might run off with it. He's probably going to sell it within the next day or two. So, you know, he's got no compulsion to give it back to Miss Jenkins. I'm trying to help her out. I'm a good person. So, David gets up. He says thank you for the meal. He wishes him well with his broken window. And as he's doing so, he then reaches down with that misdirection to grab the car keys. Oh, face danger. +2 with Shadow. We got ourselves... Oh no, it's a bad. So 2 onto a 1, so that's 3, and we rolled a double 4. So believe it or not, Matt David has a table I never thought I would use. It is what happens when you fail in a pickpocket. So we're going to use that. Thank you, Matt David. Without any warning, Mark takes the glass that has the brown liquid in it and immediately throws it into David's face. The liquid that was inside immediately just gets David by surprise. It stings, it burns, it's some sort of very strong alcohol. We're entering the fray. So we're entering the fray for real this time. It's an actual fight. So we're going to roll to see who has an initiative. So it's a sneak attack. So it's wits, thank goodness. For me, so that is 3 plus to the 1. So that's 4 against a 2 and an 8. So that's a weak hit. I think at this stage we're going to want to take the momentum. We're going to want to take the momentum in this because it's going to be a hand-to-hand fight, and I only got one eye. So we're going to say that this is a formidable fight. He's an aristocratic type, but he does seem to be sort of well-built, athletic and stuff like that. But Mark was a part of the military, so, you know, they're probably roughly equally matched. This is going to work like a conversation, but actually it's going to work exactly as Ironsworn is intended to work, as a series of strikes and clashes with initiative. But because we're in the 20th century, we are going to include firearms potentially. I intend for Race to travel armed. He does indeed have a pistol with him. It's an old military pistol. He's had that in a previous adventure that I've played with him personally. So because it's with firearms, we're actually going to use something that's not in the Ironsworn supplement. It's actually something that Sean Tompkins developed for his upcoming Starforge program. He released this thing called the Pew Pew combat system. I think he's going to go with a different combat system in the official Starforge one, but I kind of like the Pew Pew system. I just found that it was very engaging. It kind of clicked with my head as to how like a gunfight might work. So we're going to use this. Starforge, by the way, really looking forward to that coming out. I'm going to fork out the cash to buy that. Maybe we'll use more Starforge in the future rather than Ironsworn, but we'll see. But regardless, we're going to go into the fight. We're using the Pew Pew system. Let's do this. Both men had stood up as they were making their way to leave. The alcohol was thrown, and now Mark is coming in with just a square punch to the face. David lunges backwards to just miss this haymaker, but he stumbles back and falls down on the ground, losing some more momentum. Mark screams at David, "You dare come into my house!" As he does so, he attempts to drive his boot square into David's face. As the boot comes down, David pivots and actually manages to sort of spin himself back up to his feet and then twirl into the kitchen, trying to, for a moment, break line of sight. with Mark. David gets into the kitchen, he looks and he sees that there is a window that leads to a fire escape. But at the same time, he realizes that not only has Mark lost eyesight of him, but he has lost eyesight on Mark. And he hears the sound of a click from a gun. At the sound of the click, David just races for that window and a bullet grazes David across the arm as he approaches the window. The window is not open, and as he smashes through the window, he doesn't so much get injured, but it certainly does slow him down as he's sort of dazed and sitting on the fire escape. A second shot rings out. The shot zings past David, but he needs to move quickly. As he gets up, he does indeed scrape his hand on some of the broken glass, cutting his hand once again. He takes another injury. David is trying to get some distance on this guy, but now Mark has the advantage and he actually approaches into the kitchen and towards the window where David is hiding. David manages to climb down some of the fire escape. Mark reaches out the window and fires a shot. The shot misses, but the fire escape is slow, so his momentum has dropped again. Another shot rings out. We're fudging it. The shot ricochets off the steel. David, now having a little bit of cover between him and Mark, has time to pull his own weapon. He reaches up and he fires back. Mark ducks back into the apartment but is immediately back out again to fire another shot. He fires down. David needs to turn the tide here. He needs to end this fight now. He's bleeding, he's injured, he needs to get out of here. So he's going to try and turn the fight. He's down on the fire escape to the point where the ladder is that goes down to the ground. He gets on that, he triggers it, he's just going to ride the ladder down to the ground. So he's going to face danger. He's going to face danger with a bit of edge. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Facing a bit of edge, +1. It's a weak hit. He hits the ground, he feels the pain jolting up his legs. Any momentum that he got from this like sort of exciting move is completely lost in that he's now sort of limping. Okay, so he's in a position to end the fight. He is going to leg it. He's just going to run as fast as he can to try and get out of sight of this gun-toting nut. So this is against an 8 as he sprints away. Hey! It's a 2 and a 1. So he runs. He just books it. He gets out of there as fast as he can. You son of a... I'll get you. I'll find you. I don't know how, but I will find you. But David doesn't care. He runs as fast as his injured legs can get him. He finds somewhere to duck away for a little bit. So keep his head down, a little maybe bar or diner. He's just sort of watching the mirror, seeing if he comes past. No, he doesn't come past. And David slowly slinks away after that little interchange. So I think we can call it there. We've run way longer than I thought. I didn't expect a gunfight at the end, but hey, let's end with a bang, shall we? That is scene 2 finished. As I've said in the previous video, I have 10 scenes in total to gather information. We've got 8 to go. Some good stuff. At first a little mixed. We did find out about the moldy meat did come from the hotel a couple of days previously, but most importantly, we have learnt about an artistic lady with a shaved head. That was the person talking to Templeton. So, look, I guess we try and find who that person was. We still have Captain Darcy hanging in the wings. Who is this Captain Darcy? Who is this artistic lady? But thank you again for tuning in. I'm hoping that these will get shorter and more efficient as we go along, but we can only find out the dice control all in this random mystery. Thank you again for tuning in. This has been a Devon Development program. I will hopefully see you next time. Bye. Thank you again for watching. This is the part of the video where I do ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you've watched. But I would also like to draw your attention to some awesome people doing some excellent things. The Cancer Council Australia is an organisation that is striving for a future without cancer. What they do is they raise funds for cancer research. They also spread awareness and empower people to reduce their cancer risk. They are a charity most famous for their Daffodil Day. However, they are willing to partner with all sorts of people to do anything they can to raise money to help create a better future. If you would like to find out more, go to cancercouncil.com.au or you can call them at 13 11 20. If you live outside of Australia, can I encourage you, seek out organisations who are also trying to create awareness or fund cancer research so that we could all live in a brighter future. So I'm not getting paid to say these things. These are just good people doing good things in this world and letting you know how you can be a part of it. So if these people's work grabs your attention, can I encourage you, Go to Google, look them up, visit their website and see what you can do for this excellent, excellent cause. Bye.